Hey, what's up? This is Josh24214 coming back again after 2 weeks break from the last chapter of My Hero Academia written by Horikoshi. And my god, last week was crazy last week. We had an insane revelation involving Redestro's quirk, and he just became the literal Hulk of the My Hero Academia universe. So yeah, and yeah. So for those who just came in for this video, things are just about to get even crazier. With the reveal from 2 weeks ago coming back from having Horikoshi taking his 2 week holiday, his last week holiday, and he's well rested and ready to go to continue on his little story in this arc, and things are just about to get even crazier with the stuff that's been happening from 2 weeks ago to now. People have been going crazy over the stuff that Redestro has just committed. So we're going to be doing chapter 234. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It only takes 2 simple clicks. Click, click. Enjoy the episode. And yeah, with that little bit out of the way, yeah, we're going to be tackling My Hero Academia chapter 234. And yeah, things are just getting crazy. So last time we had Redestro revealing his true monstrous self as the Hulk. He's always angry. And he is pissed. So he just that Redestro just officially opened up his barbershop and asking Shigaraki to come in, and if you want to take me on, take me on. And yeah, Shigaraki is in a world of pain. Having Redestro just ripping off his 3 of his other fingers, his thumb and 2 fingers of his left hand completely blown off, and having Redestro going to pluck the rest of them like what you used to do as a kid, just picking off the flowers. Just picturing it as a person, just ripping off his fingers just one by one. So we start off with number chapter 234, and they actually corrected it from 2 weeks ago with perception collapse. And right off the bat, we get a little bit of more lore to the My Hero Academia universe that people actually had a children's book. It starts off with a children's book with a little girl like a demon, like an Oni type, a zebra, a crocodile, or a dinosaur, and a sheep. And we get more into the yeah, it, and this is probably Redestro speaking. Good little children don't judge peoples by their quirks. After his whole tangent with explaining about his mother's idea of wording quirks as special abilities, and I feel that's just gonna tick him off more and more. Just reminded how his the way his mother spoke the term of quirk, and it's been skewed by the government and all that. Shigaraki completely outclassed. Yeah, he is completely screwed. And we have the second panel of the first page seeing where we left off with Redestro's just about to rip his other digits from his left hand. His and now he seems to grab the right hand before he could try to free himself. And Redestro continues. It's a good message. I was raised the same way. However, one's special ability is directly linked to their character, which you touch with all 5 fingers will decay. It's the same for you too, isn't it? And we continue on and Redestro still talks. I didn't hear your answer earlier, Shigaraki Tomura. For what for what do you fight? What what do you wish to create? If your ambitions are hollow, and we look away into his broken, ripped off hand, they will not bear no fruit. And we see like a little, and we cut away to one of his broken parents' hands that he used to wear on his costume, just litter on the ground. It's the pursuit of destruction, your only worth as a human. And we go back to Shigaraki, and he's just focusing on that discarded hand of his, that part of his costume, and he starts, and I think he's starting to remember a little more. Hannah's hand. Hannah's hand. And after that, we go back to like a couple of minutes, like a few minutes after when the Mad Doctor. This is just a flashback to when we first see, when Shigaraki first sees the hands of his fathers, grandfathers, grandmothers, and mothers, and sister's hand. If it was implying, I don't think they implied it that much. I think it is the sister's hand that's littered on the ground and started the sequence, and it's all for one speaking. This is your mother's, your grandmother's, your grandfather's, and your father's hands. The human heart is an incredible thing. Whenever it becomes, whenever it be anger or sadness, all negative emotions will fade away with time. From now, from now on, keep their bodies close to you. Don't let those memories ever fade away. And we see more of Shigaraki as a kid when he's seeing all these dismembered hands of his family, and about to become part of him. And then we cut further back into the past with Hannah again, much later, after when we first see her in, I think it was 221 or 223, I can't remember. I think it was 221, and we just get more of Hannah's dialogue. Got in trouble again. Hannah. See, I told you, you should have just stayed quiet. I told Dad that I want to be a housewife too. My big sister. Come on, let's go. I see. Is that how it was? Whenever I was down, she always take my hand. Hannah, was it? Hannah-chan, was it? It was. It was just a few words of a naive child, but my head is spinning. Around and around. It's spinning. Returning one after the other. And we return back to Monday as Destro's just about to crush his left hand further. In that case, you'll never match me. And he just crushes it with his thumb and finger, just crushing his left hand. And Shigaraki feels this pain deep in my heart. These unknown emotions. And Shigaraki uses the last bit of his fingers on his left hand to touch the finger that's crushing him. And that's what's going on. And had been trapping the memories I had lost completely. The experiences that accompany these emotions. And then on the next page, on page 6, he manages to start corrupting. That is just surprisingly shocking that his left hand, these are the only two things, are still working on his left hand, and he still was able to decay Redestro's finger that was crushing him and started to corrupt. But it's probably going to be much slower because it's not super quick when all 5 digits. It's just and people are just freaking out about this when I first heard about this on like other videos. Like, I think this was more of a mental block issue because Shigaraki always thought that we have always seen Shigaraki always not keeping his 5 fingers closed because we all know that will trigger his quirk. But I think he could have done this, but he didn't realize he could. You know, like he had to have all of his fingers, like maybe with one finger he could still use his quirk, even though it's still just the 2 fingers are basically there, and he's still able to decay Redestro's finger. And Redestro is shocked by this.
NANI?!
It's like, what? And I can't really tell what's going on. Redestro just kind of gets pissed about it and just flicks him off. Just flings him, just having Shigaraki go flying, having all of his family's hands starting to come off one by one. Raicho? Raicho? Is that what Redestro said? And we see that, yeah, his finger is where Shigaraki was decaying it. Yeah, it's bloody. And he's like shocked at this revelation of what's going on. And we get into more of Redestro's dialogue, just processing all this new information kicking in. It should have it shouldn't have it shouldn't have activated without all 5 fingers. Was I given the wrong information? Or perhaps, and we see Shigaraki starting to come up again. Ugh. Ah! Ah! It's like freaking out. And we see in the next panel, he's like a really shocked and really scary looking face for the artwork for Horikoshi. My head, it's splitting. And then we go back into his past again. More of his memories start to come back about his mother this time. My mother. And we see his mother for the first time. And we see the mother's flashback is speaking. The rings around your eyes are getting worse again. Now where's that medicine? If you scratch it, it'll just itch worse, you know. And then after that little flashback, we go back to present day with Redestro talking more. Cases where a special ability evolves due to some random cause exist? Afrocryophilia. I think that's my best attempt, or cryo, or the Eskimo guy. The Eskimo man. Ability to control the temperature of ice was the same. It awakened when I accidentally burnt myself one day. Right now, this guy is in the midst of a reawakening. And after Shigaraki gets up, he just goes lunging towards him. It's like I'm still fighting here. Just like, and more of Horikoshi's artwork kicks in. We see like freakishly more of his freakish artwork for Shigaraki, just lunging towards Redestro, just trying to touch him. And he's going much faster than before. Then Redestro's really shocked about this too. So fast, and with minimal wasted movements. It's like he's a cat. And next page, on page 9, he continues more into what's going on. If he had this level, if he had this level of ability, he could have easily decayed a hero to a Camino. Even putting his special ability aside, has he been training? Plus, with that level of movement, unless he's been fighting for his life every day. It should be impossible for him to attain. And yeah, and Reed Destro's like, I'm not kidding around anymore. This insanity has to end. So he starts getting bigger and larger and more powerful. And now he's getting even more angrier. The same goes for me. I've also been training my stress. That's why I understand. It seems that I was hastily in assuming you were just some extra. If you're taking that much damage without disappearing, you're undoubtedly the original. Liberation 80%. So he's just increasing his power 80%. He's now at 80% and we haven't seen full power of Redestro. And he could get even bigger. And now he's really pissed at fighting the original, not a clone. It's like, I'm ending this right now. And more of his black ink is no longer more like black ink. It's more. I don't know how to describe it. It's just more covered up. It's no longer. It's more covering his face, and the only thing we see from the Destro we've seen is only his mouth. No more playing around. Stress output, and he's just about to launch his hand just to grab Shigaraki, just fling him miles away. And Shigaraki's like, oh, god damn. He's like, oh. And stress bomb. And he just smacks him aside. Send him flying. The festival ends here. And on page 11, Shigaraki just goes through dozens and dozens of houses. More and more of him just gets violently ripped apart. More of his limbs flying off. You see panels of it just cutting through all these houses. More of these houses. More of his dead limbs, hands of his family just starting flying off. And Shigaraki just looks on and remembers more. And we get more flashback into his family more. And I guess we start with the father, I think. Look, Tenko, it's your favorite, Ojari. Once you eat something yummy, your sadness will fly away. And then we cut back to his grandma. And I think his grandma was the previous All for One user, or was it before? Can't remember. I think Shigaraki's yeah, it was. So yeah, Shigaraki no. No, that's his foster grandmother. Okay, sorry. That his grandmother. Ah, don't cry. You're making your grandma sad too. And we see more of Shigaraki just still going after this blow. And more of his flashbacks of his grandma and grandfather just coming in. And we see more of Shigaraki's dialogue. Grandma, Grandpa, it was so kind. But no, that's not it. I remember now. Everything. Back then, I wanted what I wanted what I wanted to what I wanted them to say was. We see Shigaraki lying on the ground of what remains of him after getting flung so far away. And I think that was more of a that we heard that phrase before, the way it's already correlating with Izuku when he was talking about it, when he was saying that. I think he said that line as well. It's more of a to continue the duality of these two characters. That, yeah, these two are more alike but took different paths. So after all that, flinging Shigaraki from miles and miles away, we cut back to Redestro, and Redestro gets a call, and Redestro continues, "No way." Ring, 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 ring. And he just goes to his ear and just press a button, just like his communication device. Boop. What's wrong, skeptic? What's wrong, skeptic? And we cut back to skeptic, and no, we cut back to Redestro going miles away, and we have I think Shigaraki like coming out of the ruins, and we have skeptic talking. Redestro, be careful, it's headed your way. And it's like, and Redestro's like, what? And skeptic continues, this ridiculous monster was lying in wait. Redestro, these guys, they were hiding him the whole time. And we have Shigaraki coming back, standing back up. And we all know who they're talking about. I think we know who it is, who's finally arrived. And on page 14, we have... And guess who finally shows up in page 14 at the end of the chapter of 234? We have Giga finally coming here, bursting out of the ground. I'm a motherfucking T-Rex! Yeah, the motherfucking Giga finally shows up to wreck the Quirk Liberation Army. Has finally arrived. And it took him goddamn who knows how many hours. And I think Slide and Go is pretty much dead from seeing that thing. So yeah, Giga's fighting all the clone monkeys of Skeptic that Twice was fighting in the previous chapter. And we finally made it to the end of the chapter. We have Shigaraki standing up in a badass, like a badass, standing up with only two of his dead relatives' hands are still attached to him. And he just gets back up and he's just like probably looking at Redestro. And we have a bit of tag reading. Giga joins the battle. The conclusion draws near. So we're finally getting close. So we're basically at the end game of this fight now. I know I said it when Twice finally arrived at the tower. So I think this is now we're starting to get into the end game of this arc. Next time, to celebrate our 5th anniversary, a full color page. So yeah, next week will be technically, as far as I know, the 5th anniversary of My Hero Academia. And yeah, that's really crazy. 5 years. We've been doing this for 5 years. Reading this chapter for me to read for 3 years. I think I started reading the manga itself after watching the first season of My Hero Academia, and it got really interested. And I think it was like into 2 years of the story of My Hero Academia, and I think they were at the time they were just wrapping up the camp arc and like getting to the end of the camp training arc and the crazy stuff involved. And yeah, we have Shigaraki's eyes in the last panel, and that's chapter 234. And I know this feels not as exciting or big or anything, but a lot of crazy stuff is just about to go down with Redestro. We're going to have Shigaraki's just going to basically tag out of this fight because he is not a match for Redestro at this point. Either he's crazy enough to continue the fight, and then Giga tags in. We're going to be having a Hulk versus a kaiju at this point. So yeah, this is going to get really, really crazy with with Shigaraki, and we the story can go anywhere. So most likely we're going to, for the next chapter 235, we're probably going to go back to when Twice and Skeptic were fighting before Giga showed up. So yeah, we don't know what happened to Twice or Toga at this point. So we only saw Twice is just the real Twice is about to fight Skeptic and his army of shadow clones monkeys, because their face looks like monkeys apparently. So yeah, so until then, I hope you all had a good day, and I'll see you at chapter 235, and remember to like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye for now.